Hi, this is Don Clark with FileMakerProGurus.com and FM Database Consulting. And today I'm here with Susan Fennema of Beyond the Chaos, and she's the the Chaos Eradicated Officer, CEO. I love that one.
Hey, Don, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Susan?
Great.
We also have with us today Brandon Hayes. He's the Director of Business Relations for Kalos Consulting, because our first in this series of seminars on project management and managing your business and hiring subcontractors and growing your business, that type of thing, it has to do with finding qualified subcontractors. And so Brandon is an expert in that area. He finds subcontractors for people all over the country. And I don't even know if we go further than that. Do you, Brandon? Go ahead.
Yeah, great to be with you, Don. Thanks so much. And yeah, we're actually launching international next year.
Oh, wow.
As well.
Okay.
We're currently coast to coast for full-time and contract developers, and going international next year.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, now that we've got that there, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you here. What is the first step? If I'm a guy who's got a business, a consulting business like I do have, and I want to get some subcontractors on board, what's the first step that you think I should take? And what are some of the guidelines I should use?
Yeah, great question, Don. What we do is we take a needs analysis with somebody, and it's surprising if you're a small to mid-sized business, your thought is projects and deadlines and how do I keep the ball rolling? And so thoughts of what type of person am I looking for? What's their personality look like? How accessible are they? Do I need them remote or on site? These are questions you don't necessarily think of off the bat. Usually you're thinking, how quickly can I get someone up to speed and start billing? So what we try to do for folks is help them do an analysis of who is the ideal person you're looking for. You can look at the 80-20 rule where, 20% of the work produces 80% of the results. And so what you want to focus on is your preparation on the front end of who am I actually looking for, and what am I looking for them to accomplish? Because there's especially in the FileMaker community, a vast array of contractors that do all sorts of different things with all sorts of different rates and skill sets. And so for you to really narrow your playing field with a couple of strategic questions is the best way to then identify the best person you're looking for.
Okay. And so you vet these people. You find out what their qualifications are?
Yeah. So what we particularly do is we'll talk with a client of ours and figure out who exactly do you need. We go from how many hours do you need them for? What's their billing rate? Are they remote or on site? What is your moonlighting policy? Are there any other types of programming or language skills that you need them to have? Are they interacting with clients? Are they just a back end, programmer? Okay. We take all that and then weed out and vet out anyone that doesn't fit that kind of 5-star inspection or checkpoint.
Okay.
So that way, if you utilize us, you're only seeing someone who has checked all of the boxes.
Okay.
What you run into a lot of times is you'll have an interview with someone or you're talking with them and you only find out till the end they either can't be on site or they're out of your price range. And so those are things we try to get rid of or vet out in the front end. So you're only talking with relevant, applicable people. Okay.
A question that pops into my mind when I'm listening to all this is, how can somebody like me be confident that somebody you recommend is reliable? That's one of the biggest. Somebody that says they will, they're going to be there 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, or are they just going to, I just found a full-time job, or I got a great big contract and I'm out of here, type of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So a couple things we do. First off is we've started to categorize, I believe in the industry, there's really 2 types of people. There are people who are actual independent contractors that this is their business and they are used to billable hours, client demands, and projects. And then there's kind of another group of people that are looking for some contract side work on the side here and there. And so I think the first thing is this person used to doing this type of work? Are they a contractor? Are they used to managing their time and managing multiple clients and projects well. And so that's one way, I think, to start to assure that will happen. But secondly, you know, we really try to work with people that seem to be integrous, that we've worked through and done reference checks with past client deadlines, and make sure that they seem to fit the right criteria for our client that they're looking for. In addition, we partner with Molly Conley as far as technical vetting, and we'll have her kind of do a once over on someone just to make sure that they seem to have that particular skill set as far as client projects and dependability.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Brandon, you're pulling people in from Molly's Jumpstart program too, aren't you, for junior level developers?
Yes. So because of our partnership, we've helped steer young people in the direction, or people that have maybe been in-house doing FileMaker work or web work that are not familiar with client demands. And so we'll put them through her program, and then vice versa. Once someone has graduated from Molly's Jumpstart, we then help place them and put them with the right type of person, depending upon their skill set and level, of course. But we've had some great success, obviously, with Molly's stamp of approval and her course. You know, good news travels fast after that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Other things that you mentioned, I think, or you wanted to talk about, was some, you know, finding out what's provided. What, you know, should you have an NDA, like a non-disclosure agreement with these people? What do you do about that? What do you do about things like, can you work for somebody else? Not just the moonlighting, but I mean, could you work for the same client that I brought to the table, and you did the subcontracting, but you know, you do have like 2 years maybe, or 3, or what do you guys recommend, or do you have anything along those lines?
Yeah, good question. You know, I try to approach each client in each situation as an individual process. We have folks that have a particular setup that they run. They have their own terms. They've already know what their client restrictions are, and they're looking for someone, you know, 30 hours a week. That's much different than someone who you know, their business took off, or they're behind on a project and they just need someone to come in, and they've not used those types of people before as contractors. And so on a case-by-case basis, we really vet towards the client's needs. And then that's part of our process then. If someone is looking for someone with a, you know, a non-compete or non-disclosure, or they're looking for, you know, some sort of commitment, we'll make sure that the contractors are comfortable with that and agree to those terms before they actually go through the interview process.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm sorry, Brandon. So, you know, obviously we can find the people through you, right? But are there other places that people can look for subcontractors? Because, you know, now we know we need one. What are all of our options?
Yeah, of course. So I would say, you know, as far as the resources that are available within the FileMaker community, obviously nothing goes farther than word of mouth and networking. I'll make a shameless plug for the DevCon. I mean, if you're looking to grow a business and you're not there, even if some of the sessions aren't necessarily applicable, the breakouts and the lunches and meeting people there, I think, is invaluable. So anytime there's an event like that, having those connections and developing those relationships is key. You obviously have your FMP, your PUG user groups and your meetup groups. Again, looking locally is usually the point of least resistance. Even if someone's remote, the ability to meet with coffee for someone, if there are particular things that need to be discussed, is great. And so I think looking local first at some of the groups or meetups that are happening, which are pretty much in every major city at this point, is a great place to look. There's always the social media and job boards and Indeed postings. I have my own personal thoughts about those. Posting a position out there is great. But you're only attracting people who are necessarily looking for a job or for work. And sometimes the best person is wrapping up a project, or is not necessarily clicking the refresh button every single day on Indeed or on LinkedIn looking for a job posting to do work. And so those are out there. I have not found, in my experience of recruiting and helping source for 12 plus years, that job boards and social media should be your first go-to. I look at it as almost a last-ditch effort, to be honest.
I always find that you also get way too much, right? And so you have to actually allocate a lot of time to go through everything that you receive from people to even weed out who you want to talk to. And if you're already on a deadline and you're already desperate for someone, sometimes I think that method it just adds more work than helping you. Does that make sense?
We had a client reach out, and in, I think it was 4.5 days, they had 143 resumes. And, that's a full-time job in and of itself. So they basically were like, they gave us access to their Indeed, and they said, please just shut this down or make it stop. We don't know what to do with all these people. And we're weeding through Starbucks baristas and carpenters and all kinds of people who are not bad people, but they're just not qualified for this job. So I think in that situation, in 143, we got it down to 3 that were even remotely qualified, and even 1 that was worth talking to. So I would fully agree with your statement. Sometimes they're creating more work for yourself.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, you talk about, I've talked to you about before, communications and setting expectations and things like that. What do you feel about that type of thing for when you're trying to vet these people and make them?
Honestly, our statement is communication, and then recommunicate, and then over communicate if necessary. Because I think when you're dealing with deadlines and client projects, there are certain expectations that a business owner or someone who has the pressure from the deadlines on them, that sometimes steps get skipped or explanations get skipped. And, the theory is 90% of prep work will overall save you 10% minimum on the overall, project or expenditure of time. And so taking the time to clearly communicate expectations and having systems and structures in place with check-ins, which obviously a chaos eradicating officer would be able to speak to as well. How to eradicate those miscommunications and missteps, and having some of these project management tools in place is by far the biggest challenge we run into. Is someone jumps the gun, bringing a contractor on because they feel pressure, and they don't have the procedures and process in place to onboard them successfully, and they end up pulling their hair out more, and then they're behind even more because they didn't take that extra time from the get-go to get them onboarded properly.
Right, and make sure that the guy could do what their person can do what they want done.
Correct.
Well, and even more, I think, to that point, when are you going to pay them? I mean, how is the, do they have their own FileMaker licenses? All of these kinds of things are things that if you don't have a process and you're not being clear, you can get 3 weeks in, and then all of a sudden the sub can be saying, oh, I'm still waiting for my FileMaker licenses. You're like, wait, your deadline's tomorrow.
I haven't been there yet, but I could see it.
There's a lot of moving parts, and again, I think it becomes one, either lack of information or lack of knowledge on what that looks like to bring a contractor on, especially if you're not used to, that's your baby, that's your project, and bringing in an outsider, you're not necessarily sure or haven't done that process. There's things that pop up that you're not aware of. That onboarding procedure is critical to a smooth transition and hitting your deadlines on the project.
Yeah, and then once you have them on board, and that's things we'll be talking about in other segments of this is, what communication protocols do you use? Are you going to have a FileMaker databases for project management? Do you have email systems? Is your client involved in this process? And I think somebody mentioned earlier, is the person going to, is the sub going to be talking to the client? Are they allowed to? Or, are they encouraged to? Sometimes that's what I do. I encourage, no, take care of it. You can handle it. But I don't do that until I know that they can talk to a client in a way that I see is professional enough, and they are comfortable enough, have enough people skills to take care of that properly. Not everybody has that. Everybody has different levels of skills in different areas, and developers aren't known for highly developed people skills as a rule. And I can think of several that I have worked with that, you know, really good people, great developers, but, you know, they don't know how to do things the right way or offer up the options correctly and that type of thing. So it's something that they have to learn. It's part of the onboarding procedure and the training procedure. So did you have anything else about you wanted to talk about with Kalos Consulting or let it, you know, people know? You've talked about the services you offer. Now's a chance to do it.
Certainly. Yeah, a couple quick things I'd mention. One, we're happy to do a free consultation and help you do that needs analysis. Sometimes you just need someone to talk it through and you're not sure what kind of questions to ask or help to narrow down what exactly you're looking for.
Okay.
We're happy to offer a free consultative chat just to what we're really good at is asking questions you're not thinking about to draw out of you. Oh, I didn't think of that. Or, right, I do need that. And so that sometimes in and of itself helps someone. And truly, we just want to give back to the FileMaker community. So if they do that needs analysis and they say, hey, I think I'm going to run with this and find someone, you know, Godspeed and good luck. We don't hold that against anyone. But if this whole webinar has sounded stressful, you know, we do all of the back end and back office work. We can generate the 1099s and help set up the pay structure and get some of those processes in place so that it's a turnkey operation where you just got to help onboard them and we'll talk through your process. Expectations are clearly communicated and get you a quick turnaround. If you don't want to go through 143 resumes, we've got some pre-vetted people you know, that we've already run through the gauntlet. We've checked work samples. We've put them through Molly's technical vetting. We've checked communication skills, and we have hourly rates. And so we can provide kind of a pre-vetted list of people to look through as well.
All right. Well, that sounds great.
Brandon, one more thing. You do full-time as well as subcontractors, right? Either or.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah. To be honest, it's a case-by-case client basis, but I would say, you know, a full-time developer, what you're looking for, especially in that junior to mid, sometimes makes more sense. And so we've had that a lot of times where we've done a needs analysis and someone was bent on saying, I need a subcontract, and all of a sudden they're like, I need a full-time person, actually. Or vice versa, where we've talked about what's entailed with having a full-time employee, and they start looking pale and sweating. And so, hey, maybe starting someone on a contract or contract to hire basis makes more sense for where you're at in your business and on your clients. And so we've had tremendous success from both sides, both full-time and contract developers.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. It's been really helpful what you've explained. And I hope it'll result in more business being thrown your way. I certainly like the offerings that you guys have, and I can't see why somebody else wouldn't. So, do you have anything more to add, Susan or Brandon? Or is that it for today?
No, I'm glad Brandon joined us. I think that it gives us a good perspective as we start off on our series here on subcontracting.
Okay. Yeah, and this is the first in the series of several videos on both project management, subcontracting, that kind of stuff. You know, what you got to do to take care of the business that you already have or that you want to get. And today we've had Brandon, who just dropped off.
Uh-oh.
There he is.
He's back.
Just a little too soon.
What happens when you're live?
That's right. It does, but those are the technical difficulties we are used to. So at any rate, we've had Brandon Hayes from Kalos Consulting. He's been very helpful today. Thank you, Brandon. And for Susan Fennema of Beyond the Chaos and myself, Don Clark, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.